Did you notice all those times when the characters from BLUEY broke the fourth wall? BLUEY has many moments like that. It was even hard to choose which ones to include in this list. The characters love looking at the camera, talking to whoever is watching, and making references that show there's a world outside the cartoon. In other words, they love breaking that invisible wall that exists between the characters and us. One of the cutest moments when this happens is in the episode where BLUEY goes to play at Chloe's house and Bingo has to play alone. Bandit takes BLUEY, and Chili stays home, but she has to fix the toilet flush, so there's no one left to play with Bingo. First, she tries to play doctor, but when she realizes there's no one to be the patient, she gives up on the idea. Then she tries that game where someone chooses something they can see in the place they are and only says its color without saying what it is. At that moment, she already looks at the camera as if she's talking to us, but then she realizes that for the game to work, someone has to try to guess which object the person chose. Since she's alone, she says, "This isn't going to work." But then she looks at the camera again and says, "It was the rug, by the way." This is one of the episodes where Bingo really shines, and we can see even more how adorable she is. But that's just the first of the moments we chose to show you here, because between us, this fourth wall doesn't even exist. So get ready, because another zigzag video is starting now. The fourth wall break moment that's one of the fans' favorites happens in the episode Flat Pack, when Bandit and Chili are trying to assemble a swing they bought. Chili comments that the cartoon dog is saying to put a piece of cardboard underneath, and Bandit says,
"I'm not taking advice from a cartoon dog."
Which is funny since he himself is one. There's even a t-shirt with that phrase because fans love it so much. And this moment gets even better when we stop to think that many parents who watch BLUEY actually take advice from Chili and Bandit, even though they're cartoon dogs. Meanwhile, BLUEY and Bingo play with the cardboard boxes, bubble wrap, styrofoam, and everything left from the swing's packaging. First, they pretend to be fish on top of the bubble wrap, which they imagine to be water. Then they move on to land, which is a piece of cardboard, and follow the whole path of Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. Some people say that this reference is also a fourth wall break, but I don't know if I agree. What do you think? When BLUEY and her friends decide to play shops, Mackenzie gets annoyed because they take too long deciding things. Whenever he thinks the game is finally going to start, BLUEY remembers some detail that needs to be sorted out first, like who is the shopkeeper, what they're selling, what they'll use as money, and so on. They decide that Mackenzie will be the customer and Honey will be his pet cat. When she starts talking, BLUEY says that cats don't talk, and neither do dogs, right, BLUEY? But we'll let that one slide. Then she and Honey start meowing. At that moment, Mackenzie looks at the camera with a frustrated face, as if to say, "Look what I have to deal with." Shortly after, BLUEY says that she wants to be the cat in the game, but Honey doesn't want to switch. Then they all start wanting to change roles, and most of them say they want to be the shopkeeper because it's fun to scan things with the barcode reader and go doop, doop, doop. And so they keep going doot, doot, doop, doot, doop. And then BLUEY looks at the camera with the same look Mackenzie had before, like she can't believe what's happening. Have you ever gotten annoyed because your friends couldn't agree when deciding on a game? If so, tell us in the comments using the hashtag Mackenzie. And since we're talking about a moment between BLUEY and Mackenzie, there's another time when the two of them break the fourth wall. In the episode The Creek, BLUEY, Bingo, and Mackenzie seem a bit tired of playing at the playground. They call Bandit to play with them, but he says he's too big for the playground equipment. Then, Mackenzie has the idea of going down to the creek. BLUEY doesn't really want to go, but he insists. The whole way there, she's scared and unsure, until they reach a part where there's a small waterfall separating two rocks. They have to jump from one rock to the other to keep going, but when it's BLUEY's turn, she freezes and can't do it. Then Mackenzie tells her it's just like jumping from one sheep to another, but BLUEY replies that they don't jump on sheep. That's a reference to the fact that Mackenzie is a border collie, a breed usually used for herding sheep, while BLUEY is a healer, which are normally used for herding cattle. Some people believe that the fact the episode title cards are read by the characters' voices is already a fourth wall break. That's because it makes it seem like they recognize they're in a show that other people watch. but this theory gets stronger in some episodes. Like in the episode Hairdressers, when, in the middle of the game, Bluey finds a knit in Bandit's fur and changes the episode's title to Knits. Or in the episode Tickle Crabs, where Bingo is about to say the name of the episode when Bandit interrupts her, saying he's not going to play that. In that same episode, Bluey and Bingo try to emotionally blackmail Bandit so he'll agree to play Tickle Crab with them. Who hasn't, right? Bluey says, "You're always at work," and he answers, "I'm never at work," which is very true, since the show never shows Bandit working. And since we're talking about moments when Bluey breaks the fourth wall while reading the title cards, one of the funniest moments of this kind happens in the episode Puppets, when Unicorse goes to read the title and says, "I don't know what that says. I can't read." This episode also has another fourth wall break when Unicorse is putting Bluey to bed and asks how she's so sure she isn't a puppet. She just replies, "Don't be silly." But at that moment, the camera zooms out, showing the computer program that Joe Brum, the show's creator, uses to animate. We see his whole process of animating Bluey as she wakes up, and then we see the fully animated scene. And you know what wouldn't be a weird dream? If you subscribed to our channel. It's super easy. Just click the subscribe button. In the episode Born Yesterday, Bandit says, "Dad enters the room." At the exact moment he appears in the scene. It sounds like he's reading a part of the script that wasn't meant to be read out loud. And that's exactly what happened. David McCormick, who voices Bandit, accidentally read that line during recording, and they ended up deciding to keep it. After all, it fits perfectly with Bandit's personality. Another moment that really shows Bandit's personality and also breaks the fourth wall is in the episode where he decides he's going to teach Bluey how to play chess, or as she calls it, chest. Chili asks if that game isn't too advanced for her age, and Bandit asks Bluey how old she is. She gets upset. Of course, how could he not know his own daughter's age? But answers that she's 6. That's when Bandit asks, "You're still 6?" That line is a joke about the fact that Bluey hasn't aged in 3 years of the show. Another way Bluey breaks the fourth wall is by making references to things from the real world. Like the day we meet Pom Pom in the episode Seesaw. That day she feels sad because she can't really play with Bluey and Bingo since she's too small. In that episode, there's a moment when Chili is talking with Pom Pom's mom. They talk about a character from a series they want to appear in the 4th season. Chili comments that he actually does appear and asks if she hasn't seen the trailer, saying that the character seems to be in Russia. That's a reference to Stranger Things. But what about you? Is there any other moment like this that you noticed and we didn't mention here?